Hi, I'm Mike Taylor with Innovative E. I have with me today Tad Haas.
Hey, Mike, good to see you today.
Good to see you. So we had an interesting week last week in San Francisco, didn't we?
We most certainly did.
Microsoft Ignite 2025. It was a huge event. It was, I think, the biggest Ignite I've ever been to. There was just a huge crowd, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. There must have been 200 or 300 partners and vendors there as well.
Oh, there were tons of people, both in the Microsoft exhibit area, the partner area. It's like us and 20,000 of our closest friends. So it was great to be involved, and I'm glad we went.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, some good food and interesting things going on in San Francisco. So, maybe just start off by, we're going to do like a quick recap of what we learned there, both from at a higher level from some of the presentations we saw and some of the general themes from Microsoft, but also some of the things that we saw in attending some of the sessions that are near and dear to our heart, which is, in our space, which is the planner team. They did a couple sessions. We met with some of the team while we were there. That was awesome. And then maybe just some general recaps and learnings and impressions and things. So, Tad, you were saying, there was a general vibe that you got and an energy that was there. Maybe you could speak a little bit about that.
Well, you are absolutely right. And I found that the energy of the event was quite contagious. We've been in technology for a long time, and so change is somewhat cyclical, and there are big moments, and then there's, running the business kind of moments. And I think we're at one of those inflection points. It's this moment now where there was so much enthusiasm and indeed respect for what's coming with AI. Enthusiasm specifically because of what's possible, the type of things that we saw for general work, and then specifically the things that we saw for Planner and Copilot better together for us as project managers. And then the second part was really respect. And I say respect for two things. Number one, the effort required to go through this transformation, go through this change, understanding that there is work involved to get to the positive outcomes that we believe AI and supporting technology will bring. But then two, respect for the notion of trust and security. And Microsoft has always been that company you want to talk to about security and trust and working better together within the construct of corporate data, M365, and the new realities that we're in today. So
Right.
for me, those two big things, both the enthusiasm for what's coming and the respect for the journey getting there.
Yeah. I think I want to add one more thing that kind of came, and I think you'll agree with this, is sort of a sense of community. That, you hear Microsoft and a lot of these other, NVIDIA had a big booth, their huge booth. Everybody was there. There is a certain sense, though, of we're all sort of trying to figure this thing out together. And there is sort of a sense of community, and we ran into a lot of old friends. There's a lot of change going on in every organization within Microsoft, within all the partner organizations. People are trying to figure out how to reinvent their businesses to best meet the needs of customers, and customers are trying to figure it out. But I think there's sort of a sense of we've got this collectively, we've got this, and we will figure it out together in the best way possible. The most the most secure way, the most responsible way. There was a giant sign of AI for good, and I think that people really believe that that's what we're all going after, is to use this modern new world that we're moving into for good, to help humans be better at what we do, and create a better world for everyone.
I agree. And the community at large, but then community specifically, running into Christoph Weisinger was a real joy. I haven't seen
That's awesome.
Christoph for years. We used to work together, as you know, on the Microsoft project product team.
And we had a
And
little mini reunion there.
we did indeed. So
You guys
really,
from that side, me from the partner side.
yep, all good
Yep.
fun.
Yep. So some of the higher level themes, I've got a few notes here, and I did have AI help me build these notes. So it was actually better than just relying on my memory, and a few things that I scribbled down. But a few things that came out of the conference. Number one, agentic AI kind of becomes the new flow of work paradigm. And I think, what they're really talking about there is they're moving beyond a chat assistant into more of a collaborative. We've been talking a lot lately about collaborative intelligence in the project and work management space. And I think that was a big theme, right?
hmm Yeah, co-intelligence is definitely the reality. And when we look at how over these last 10, 20 years, what have you, we've been information workers using these tools. Now with just the fundamental out of the box Copilot or ChatGPT or any of the Gen AI stuff, you are using these tools to help you sort of 2x, 3x your work productivity. But then add to it the agentic side and looking at agents becoming team members in the working environment. So those agents will become co-collaborators. Those agents will create value. They'll take away the mundane work, and starting to see that both in the broad sense, but then also the very specific sense of project and portfolio management, I thought was pretty rewarding last week.
Yeah, yeah, and specifically to that point, one of the notes was that they really are putting into the work management and productivity, the collaboration space. They're putting more capabilities. You mentioned agents. There are a couple of agents that were highlighted there in the demos we saw around Planner, but these are more broadly available. Or the facilitator agent and the channel agent, and those
Mm-hmm.
things are pretty cool, right? I mean, the facilitator agent can actually participate in the meetings with you, help you not just make notes, but actually make recommendations for the next meeting, and build agendas and do these kind of things. So it was pretty cool to see those kinds of embedding AI directly into the platform collaboration space.
Well, and the facilitator agent specifically has sort of just shown up, and
Mm-hmm.
it's in my team's environment today. And as we're going through project meetings or delivery meetings with valued customers, it's capturing those notes, telling us if we're on task for the meeting, and really setting the go-dos for next,
Mm-hmm.
as well as just taking good notes and transcripts. So it's
Yep.
definitely changing.
Yeah, another important point that came out of there is and you mentioned this a minute ago, there was a big emphasis on governance, security, and scale,
Mhm.
and really working on the components of that to make organizations feel better about the capability to use AI. And we talk to customers every day, and those are everyday concerns. Um, but one of the things that was also brought up, which is a recent prediction from IDC, is that by doing these things, by providing the platform and the confidence that you can use this in a governed, secure way, IDC is now projecting that there will be 1.3 billion agents by 2028. That's just a stunning number. And you think about that, that's agents are almost, if you think of them almost like people or roles that people have, that's a whole new workforce that can be out there and add to everything that's going on.
You had asked me one of the highlights, and I'm probably jumping ahead, but it seems like a good time to bring it in. One of my favorite parts of the demo that Robin and George and Howard put together over the meetings we saw on Thursday was the ability for Copilot to become one of the assignable team members
Mm-hmm.
inside of a planner plan. So that if I'm the project manager and I need to, do some sort of report or analysis or what have you, that I can actually assign that to Copilot. The Copilot agent will go off and do that work, and then you or I might be the human in the loop that
Mm-hmm.
validates, checks all that. So we get to check the box that says, yes, this was done satisfactory, or take the 90% and do the 10% editing. And, that's like getting a whole nother resource on
Yeah.
your project. So
Yeah.
if that doesn't help with bottlenecks.
Yeah, absolutely. That was really cool. When Robin showed that as part of the planner demo, I was like, whoa, that's cool. And the human in the loop piece is pretty interesting too. That's a concept I think has been around for a couple of years in academia, but it's really being brought forth in actual practice now. The way that worked, and I'm sure we can give demos, and other people will be giving demos and showing this, and these will be available. But when Robin actually went and assigned the Copilot agent, it co-assigned her automatically, so that the work that was being done, she would be able to track that work and see what was going on. That's the way in practicality it played out. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Um, Part of, in setting the table for the planner announcements, I know you've got a couple more notes on that. The one thing that I really kind of took away from it is something we've sort of been saying, and it's been it's emerging and moving that direction, but Microsoft came right out and just said it. And they said, they're working on a platform versus a tool-centric approach. And even to the point where the UX of the individual tools are now, they're starting to think in terms of de-emphasizing them. And it's the first time I've heard folks like that, even within the planner team, say, it's not as much about, it's important to be able to do task management and assign tasks and visualize tasks, but where they see all this going is moving beyond working in an individual tool and really having all the platform capabilities available to you. And really that Copilot and AI becomes the UX, the user experience.
Well, and that was one of my favorite features that was presented and demoed is that now the Copilot or the project manager agent is actually a little button in the little bottom right hand side that you can call up any time in your planner plan. And in doing so, that's where you can ask the obvious questions about what tasks are behind. You
Mm-hmm.
know, who's up next for the work coming forward? What are the most important risks that we have going on? And as project and portfolio management specialists, we've been helping enterprises put those practices in place for a long time. The fact that you can now ask the question through that English query versus having to go to a report, even if it's a top shelf Power BI report, can
Mm-hmm.
be a lot more engaging, can be faster. What do they call it? In the flow of work.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're doing things, right, I can have that question and ask it right in the middle of what's going on. So it
Right.
seems very appropriate.
Yeah. Well, I know you had some thoughts, the specific call outs that were made with some of the announcements and things that were highlighted within the planner sessions we attended. You want to maybe hit a couple of those now?
I will, and a couple are just super awesome for end users. A couple of them are important for sort of technology deployments and adoption. The first one I think that's really great for every end user is the fact that now Planner is seeing tasks across all of M365.
That's a big one.
And it's huge and
Mm-hmm.
especially true in Outlook, right?
Right.
So as you're going through, now Outlook is presenting your tasks, your private tasks, which
Mm-hmm.
will show up in your planner views along with the team plans and
Right.
or the big projects that you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really an important end user capability, and along with that, the integration to Outlook.
Yeah. Yeah. And allowing people to work the way they want to work, which has always been a goal, right? Use the tools you want to use.
Absolutely. I was talking with an enterprise this morning that had three different tools that they were using to manage their projects.
Not
And
surprising.
what's the average, Mike?
5.7.
5.7, right? And she wasn't even including Outlook. So I
Right.
was in the demo. I was in the demo, and I showed, my tasks, and it's like jaw dropping, right? Because that's where a lot of us do work, and it's really great for that to show up. We've touched on a couple of things around that, and one that's related, of course, is real-time notifications
Mm-hmm.
that show up from each of those key areas as well. We covered and talked about the facilitator agent, which I thought was fantastic. To
Yeah.
me, it was just really a neat way to go through and have facilitator listen on the Teams calls, understand that a task was just discussed, and then give those up to you as a way to go through and check the box to assign it. Hey, Mike's got something to go off and do.
Mm-hmm.
Tad, you're late on this one, and I thought that kind of engagement's terrific.
Or even proactively do some of the work, right? Like, would you like for me to set up an agenda for the next meeting based on the outcome of this? And that was
Correct.
really,
That
really cool stuff. Saves so much time.
setting agendas, creating activities, editing tasks. If you say, "Oh yeah, we're done,"
Mm-hmm.
then in theory that's going to go through and check the box
Yep.
and move those forward.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other ones on there, but some of the things we've been playing in preview mode with the project manager agent is the status reports.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that that's one of the bane of existence for project managers and portfolio managers.
Right.
So the fact that I can go through and ask the project manager agent to build a status report for me, it goes off and collects all the data from the scheduling endpoints, from the various places where we kept lists and documents and tasks, pulls together the resources that are assigned, and creates that 1 page, 5 page, 10 page. You get to set how deep you want it to go. Status report automatically, including the Gantt or the bar chart diagrams, including resource pie charts and task lists. So I think it's great that it's now actually going to production and starting to show up in people's instances.
Right. Yep.
You were probably a big fan of templates, right?
Templates was great. How many times do we get asked for that? Like every customer? I mean,
Well,
almost.
pretty much. And I know in Teams for PM, that's one of the things that we provide capability to go through and set up for those. I think was really neat. One topic that probably deserves more conversation, but I won't go into a lot of it here because I want to save my favorite for last. And that's this notion of agentic portfolios.
Mm-hmm.
Still getting our arms around exactly what that means, but I think the real capability here is that we work in different places, and now the agentic portfolios will allow us to go through and see work from Planner, from Azure DevOps, from Jira, and have all of that surface into our Planner views and our reports.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty excited about that, and I think there's more to come there.
Yeah, if you're not going to cover it, I've got something that you just triggered a memory for me, but go ahead.
Go for it. I'll save mine for last.
Well, maybe the same thing, but so when you mentioned Jira, one of the things that was demoed also that was very cool, and one of our friends that we know, that's a product manager, I know his extensibility team worked on this at Microsoft, was the ability for, they went out and basically said within Planner, what are our blockers that we're seeing within the Jira development that's being done as part of this schedule? And it actually went out into the Jira instance that was doing the managing, and it did whatever magic it did behind the scenes to find out what the blockers were and surface those back into the Planner plan. That was pretty cool. I mean, I know that there's some connector stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but the ability to do that, the ability to seamlessly interact with even non-Microsoft products is sort of mind-blowing. And you mentioned the 5.7. Those 5.7 that Gartner says are the average number of project management tools, they're not all Microsoft, right? Most PMOs and organizations have all kinds of different tools. The ability to be able to connect it that seamlessly and bring that stuff together, I was like, I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, wow, that was cool.
Think of all the work that companies and Innovative E has done in trying to integrate systems in order to do that very thing. So
right. Exactly.
Pretty exciting. No, my last one is workflow. And I'm just going to use that because, as a technical guy, I've tried to do workflows over time, and I've tried to get them just right, and always struggle a little bit with workflows. I don't know if that's me or the tools, but when they were walking through the demo and they tied in, what Planner was doing, looking at the Outlook information, pulling all of that together, including SharePoint documents and everything else, surfacing that up in my view of Planner and Teams, I was just like, oh man, that's the way workflows really should work. So I'm excited about the workflow engine capabilities and the workflow agent to make that process a lot easier.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm sure we'll have a lot more discussions around kind of the Planner announcements and the things that were going on. We'll probably be doing some demos, and I'm sure in upcoming, webinars and podcasts and stuff, we'll be covering a lot of stuff. But also, if anyone has any questions, they can reach out, and we'll have our contact information. If there's nothing else there, I did want to hit one other key point, and that is the Project Online retirement. You can't, this will be the last time we talk about it at Ignite unless something changes. But we did have a lot of discussions with the Microsoft team about what's going on in the field and with customers. And there are some real challenges that the retirement has, it's now scheduled for September 30, right, of 2026. So customers have some decisions to make and some things to do. So we had those discussions. We had meaningful discussions with folks at Microsoft and the product team, and the folks who are working with the customers, and their teams are working with customers all the time. So it's an interesting and challenging area. Of course, what we would like to see most customers do is work on a move forward approach, which is to move forward with Planner as the scheduling component. If you're Microsoft based, but it could be other solutions, as you said. And what was at the top of the discussion here though, really emphasizes that Microsoft is behind this concept, this notion of a platform. So I think, and I know we've talked a lot about this, Tad. The notion of a product to product is no longer important. It's really, you got to think about what capabilities do you need, and what do you need for and reimagine maybe in certain cases what you're trying to do with your project management solution if you're needing to move off of project online. And the platform probably takes, platform with certain solutions, accelerators, products, things like that, probably help you get there. And in many cases, and to a much better place than you were before. And then obviously a much brighter future, because that's where all the investment and innovation is going. And everything we're talking about is going to be on the platform going forward. It's not going to be, on a standalone, or even the project online instance that's out there now is really not part of the modern platform. Yes, it's in the cloud, but it's really not part of that modern platform. It's part of a legacy SharePoint infrastructure that is indeed, that entire thing is being deprecated, not just the project online piece, the SharePoint stuff, everything else from the Microsoft Modern Cloud vision. So their vision is to go forward, and we hope that us and other partners can get customers to move forward. If they can't, then we can help support, and other partners can help support a transition that will bridge that time frame.
Well, I think bridging the time frame is what's important, right? This is sort of unbudgeted and unscheduled for some of our customers, and we're hearing about that. But by having the option of subscription edition and modern, you can do them at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive.
Right.
And in fact, that's, I think, one of the value propositions that the platform brings to the table yet again, is we can start you on the journey, on the path to get there, and you can start to take advantage of some of the modern capabilities and the new functions, but still get your work done as you need to do. So it's solve the problem, but keep moving forward.
Yep, absolutely. Any other thoughts, Tad?
No, other than my head's about still to explode from all the stuff we saw on Thursday and Friday. And so I'm excited to really help customers with that. I know whenever I'm demoing Planner, it's always fun to watch the look in people's eyes. They go, "Oh, I didn't think Planner could do that."
Right.
When Planner first came out, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, great. It's a task list and it sits over there and blah, blah, blah." But it's getting to the point now where it's quite functional. And if you think about work a little bit differently and you start to take advantage of some of the new ways of working, that I think the payoff's going to be pretty solid. So we'll see over time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great for Microsoft to show us these things, and now it's time to get busy.
Yep. So in summary, 2025 Ignite was really all about AI and how you can move away from AI as an assistant to AI working with you. This idea of co-intelligence, co-collaboration. The work management space with Planner, it's really we're seeing the investments, like you said, it's really starting to pay off, and it is a platform. Keep in mind, so it's really Teams, Planner, agents, and third-party solutions like we and other partners have been doing. There's a lot of interesting. We only hit on some of the Planner. Some of the announcements. There's some more things. One that we missed, by the way, is that they are going to consolidate the Planner plans. They're going to simplify that. That's going to be really cool because it's kind of confusing now. There's 3 plans, and actually there's 3 plans plus Planner boards, and anyway, you can get to a much better. That's going to be announced. It was announced, and then they're going to get to it in the near future. And then the stuff going on around, I guess, is for a lot of people, the thing that's going on right now is the online retirement. But there is a much better path forward and a much brighter future. And, as some people have said, the AI and the technology that's there now, Planner, Copilot, all these pieces, this is the worst version of these products that you're ever going to see. They're going to they're innovating. There's a lot of investments going on, and they're going to continue to get better and better. And so are our products and other partner products. So there's a very bright future ahead for the world of project management. And it's and the whole Microsoft ecosystem. So it's super exciting.
Well said. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Tad. And we'll see everybody again soon. Take care.